and we stayed there. Ruthie and I stayed there until we were, I would think, 12 years old, when we started to go to spend the summers with the different nuns' relatives. And the first place we went was to Sister Jane's sister that lived on a farm. And now that I have to tell you about, because that's where I learned to drink beer. Those people had a handicapped child, and my sister and I were supposed to always take care of this little girl. Her name was Dolores, and they made their own beer. I mean, they grew their hops, and so Ruthie and I would have to siphon the beer into the bottles and cap them. And after they were capped, then we could open a beer from the last batch and split this bottle of beer.
How old were you?
Oh, I was just a little kid, probably 10, 12 years old. And to this day, I still drink beer and I enjoy beer. And I don't think anybody can ever say that they saw me have too much to drink. But I do enjoy having beer, but I don't drink much hard liquor.
Now, I heard once that those summer vacations, that's why you were a Tigers fan.
It was. Well, then that first year we went out in the country there. Then the next year we went to Sister Hortense. That's the nun I told you took care of our money and our clothes. She had a sister that lived at 6060 Cadet in Detroit by Holy Redeemer, and we could walk to the stadium, to Navin Field, and we'd walk there in the morning and would take the Baker streetcar back home at night after the ball game, and every single game that was at home we went to, Ruthie and I, and then the nun sister that took care, I mean, she went to work every day, and the husband, I don't know why he didn't work, but he stayed with us girls, and he went to the ball game every day with us. Now that was when Geringer and Cochran and Rogel, and that's when I think they won the World Series that year. And we went, and I don't think we ever had to pay to get in. I don't know if we got there free or not. Just lately I said to somebody, I wonder if years ago kids got in free. I don't know. I have no idea. But I have been a Tiger fan, win or lose, ever since. But I'll tell you, Paul, look how old I am today. And this is the first year that I've got enough sense that I go to bed before the ball games are over and not get all worked up about it. Don always said, go to bed, the outcome's going to be the same.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you.
Now, before you met my grandpa Rogers, Don,
Yeah.
did you date anyone else?
Oh yeah, I had every time. Well, I never did tell you about going to. And one time, we went in the summertime. We went to my guardian. He was a banker there in this little town, and we expected to stay with him for the summer because he had a family. And when we got there, he told us that Ruthie would go with one sister and I would go with another sister. And so the first weekend I went, you've heard me talk about Bernie Trudell, the Trudells. And she said to me, now, the first Saturday night I was there, she said to me, Pat, you have to get yourself cleaned up and dressed up. My brother, he is a farmhand here, but he has a steady girlfriend, but you're old enough that you should get yourself ready and go with him. And we went to I don't know if they called it a Grange Hall or something in Ravenna. and we went to this, and so every Saturday night we would go down there to the dance, and I think they square danced downstairs and round danced upstairs, and you could get beer there too. And you know, I probably drank more beer before I was 21 than I ever did after. I mean, I don't know if it was a fuss then or not, but every Saturday night I'd come home with somebody different, and I'd say to Bernie, "Oh, I came home with this man." She says, "Well, that would be my cousin." The next week, "Well, that would be my cousin." And I said, "Well, how could all these?" But come to find out, when I knew her, she had come from a big family, and they had all these relatives, and they probably were all her cousins. But I went with a Bernard Boomgard. He was kind of a redhead kid, and had good times with him. The best times I ever had in my life, I think I went with him. And I tell you, we went to motorcycle hill climbs and rode down railroad tracks and all kinds of stuff. But then when I went to college, everybody would say to me, "Why are you dating him?" You know, and I said, "I don't know, we have good times together." And then I tell you, after I went to college and I met Don, and I never saw him again until, well, probably 15 years at least. I hadn't seen him because I didn't drive, and when I got a driver's license and I drove to Grand Rapids, I had a brand new car, and I was right downtown in the heart of Grand Rapids, and like I went to shift, and the shifting gear kind of went loose or something, and the policeman came and says, "Move it," and I said, "Honey, how do I move it?" So they called a wrecker and took this car to a Chevy dealership, and when I got to the Chevy dealership, that redhead kid Bernard, he was the owner of that dealership on Plainfield in Grand Rapids. And so anyway, a good many times after I was in Grand Rapids, I had run into him or seen him. In fact, not too many, since Don died anyway. I went there with my friend Jenny and her, and I said, "Well, I think we'll stop and see if how Bernard's doing." So we stopped at this dealership, and there was a different name and everything, I think. And I went in and I told them who I was looking for, and they said, "Oh, he's been dead a few years already." So, anyhow.
Where did you go to college at?
Oh, I went to Michigan State College, then it was.
Did that later turn into the university?
Yeah. And I lived in male dormitory,